Hello, good afternoon. I'm Patrik Fröhlich. Thank you for introduction. I'm the sales manager at Celeroton, and I will introduce Celeroton fuel cell converters in a short presentation. Please go ahead. Celeroton basically has 4 product groups. It's oil-free turbo compressors for fuel cells, obviously. Last year I had a short presentation here in this forum. Second product group is converters, also for fuel cell, but also for other applications, basically speaking for high-speed applications. And of course ultra-high-speed motors and magnetically levitated motors as well. Celeroton is a, let's say, integrated company. So we have all technologies which you can see here within the company, starting from the thermodynamics. The thermodynamics is the compressor stage. The rotor dynamics you need to consider at the high speeds we operate at. Thermal design. Thermal design basically corresponds directly to efficiency. So for our systems, high efficiency is very important because of high power density. Bearing technology, of course, is key. There are 3 technologies which are used at Celeroton. It's ball bearings. Ball bearings are mainly for prototype or for special applications, and let's say it's an off-the-shelf product. It's a sophisticated product, but it's off-the-shelf. We purchase ourselves. Our own technology is an active magnet bearing. We use also for special applications where no air is available, for example, or where we have different and changing inlet conditions. And for the turbo compressors we use gas bearings, whereof this bearing type is contact-free and it's also patented from Celeroton. Stress analysis, because if you are at very high speeds you are near the material strength, so you have to consider stress, and of course motor. And what we will talk about today, or what I will briefly introduce, is the electronics or converters to drive the systems and the compressors. Here we have a very simplified schematics of a fuel cell system. On the left hand you see a fuel cell tank, basically a hydrogen tank, which is introduced into the fuel cell as fuel, and a recirculating blower, perhaps for bigger systems. And Celeroton has their advantage, or their systems, on the cathode side mainly. It starts with the converter. And here you see one outstanding feature with the 2 power inputs. We have a low voltage power input, in this case 8 to 32 volt DC, for supply of electronics for digital power, and to start the compressor from battery. So this makes the system independently from high voltage supply. Also, the converter is connected directly to the fuel cell. You see it on the right bottom, and does not need an additional DC-DC. And therefore the system again is independent. So what are our converters? It's up to 7.5 kilowatt. You see this one looks different. I have 2 examples today I will show you. The feature is startup from low voltage for all converters, or fuel cell converters. And what's not on the sheet, it's IP67 rated. The operation directly from the fuel cell power allows you to design the DC-DC smaller, or if you need to go to a DC-DC available on the market, you do not use the power from the compressor. You do not need to run the power through the compressor through the DC-DC. So your net power might be higher, and resulting in reduction of cost in the balance of plant. All converters from Celeroton are equipped with sensorless speed control for the whole operating range, so you can start the compressor and you can control it very accurate. The converters we use are designed for ultra-high-speed turbo compressor with air bearings, what we use, but also can be used for compressors with foil bearings, which have higher current and basically higher power for startup, but also can be used for roots compressor and screw compressors. So now you remember I said we are specialized on ultra-high speed, but especially in roots and screw compressor you have higher pole power numbers, and due to this the mechanical speed is low, but the electrical speed as well is very high. So it can be controlled by this converter as well. All our converters for fuel cells are equipped with a CAN 2.0A CAN interface, and optional it's also SAE J1939 available and service interface RS422. Whereas 422 is used for commissioning reasons and also for updating the firmware, for example. Since all technology is in-house, it's possible to have adaptions only. Adaption would be to increase or decrease the input voltage, as well as development of complete new electronics for integration in your system. All converters also have a possibility of a surge protection. Basically, surge is a well-known instability for turbo compressors, and if you operate a compressor in surge, it will be destroyed. So in the converter, there's the characteristic of a compressor, and if you go too close, or if you go close to the surge area, there will be a warning. It's by CAN, and if you go closer, there will be an action performed. This action can either be stop the system, or to reduce the speed, or to send a signal to open the valve, and so on. And this is to prevent compressor from damage in the system. So here we have two converters. It's a 1 kilowatt converter, a CC121,000, and a 7.5 kilowatt converter, CC500-7500. Both have a startup from battery. Both are capable to deliver 300, respectively 500 watts for startup. So this is sufficient to lift off a compressor in the case of an air-bearing or gas-bearing compressor, and then switch to direct consumption from fuel cell. Yes, the other information can be found on the data sheet, and yes. Here I have one last slide to gas-bearing compressors. Last year I introduced the CT22-12000.GB. It's a 12 kilowatt compressor, and we now have designed the CT22-6000 GB. So basically the volume flow is half, but the casing is the same, and the basic look of the system is the same. So it's basically a new system. Celeroton is based in Switzerland, Volketswil. It's near Zurich, and we have international sales partners in the US as well in Asia and in Europe. So, thank you for your attention.
Okay. Thank you very much for your presentation. Are there any questions from the audience right now about Celeroton? No questions from the audience? Okay. You're in the market since like about 10 years, you said?
We have been established 10 years ago, and in the market of fuel cells and fuel cell converters and compressors as well, we are since 2016.
Okay. Do you see also a shift? Everybody's talking about Asia right now. Do you also see a shift in your business towards Asia, or how is it? Was it always Asia, or how is it for you?
Of course, the Asian market is very active in the moment, but also in the European market, something is going on.
Okay. So if you have further questions, they're close by their booth at E53 on this side. Please join them for some more discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.